we started out. I want to point this out. We started out talking about doing 5. I then pushed it to 10, and then that got pushed to. I was like, dude, I think I might need 20.
I can't do 20. I'll do 10. I can do some honorable mentions, and I can do 10. But 10 was hard enough.
Dude, I have
like not to find, but to like really like. Nope, I love this one more than this one, and I love this one more than this one. And this one counts as summer horror because like there was multiple like arguing back and forth between myself.
So that's an issue that I had. And I even texted John about a particular franchise that I was having trouble with because yes, it's technically summer-esque, but at the same time, none of the films feel particularly like summer in comparison to some of the other films on my list. Yeah, and John texted me, is like, do like monster movies count for this? Yeah, dude. I'm not sticking to slashers. I'm not sticking to traditional. There's a little bit of everything in here. And I think we're gonna have a couple of the same films in here, just judging on our taste. This list was really hard to make. Like, I've spent 4 days and I'm still not 100% on this list. Like, my honorable mentions, I kind of really want to kick out like my last 2 or 3 picks for them, and I've swapped them multiple times, so it's really hard.
Mine's pretty solid except for like the last couple. Like the last couple, I'm like, and I drew the line. I like one more than the other, but I'm gonna put the 1 in the 10 spot for the fact that it's more horror. Like, I had to be like, nope, this is more summer and more horror. You get that. Well,
yeah.
Not necessarily more summer, but more horror.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I just want you to know that I have my Good Luck movie playing in the background. And that is... Here, I'll show you.
Oh,
Come
my
on.
God, man. God. Put it away.
I love that. Love that movie.
Brutal.
But
we'll get there. We will get there someday.
I've been really wanting to revisit the Nightmare franchise since my cousin passed, especially because we spent so much time watching it, and I'm finally to the point that I can start watching the movies again. I popped in New Nightmare not too long ago, and the past couple days I've really been wanting to watch Freddy's Dead, and last week, like I said, I was really wanting to watch Freddy's Revenge, because I don't care who says what, that is the scariest Nightmare film. It just is.
Yeah. I think I wouldn't mind diving into Nightmare on Elm Street maybe in September. It feels like a good September. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Friday the 13th would be a really good like August, and then you do Nightmare on Elm Street in September, and then you do Halloween in October. It's a really nice boom, boom, boom. Like it just fits those seasons really well.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do our honorable mentions.
How many do you have?
I'm only gonna do. Hang on. I'm gonna do three or four honorable mentions.
I'm going to do 4.
Okay.
And one of them kind of breaks the rules for movie.
Okay.
So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first, sir?
I'll just do mine real quick. I'll just do all 4 right in a row.
Okay.
But yeah. So this one's a newer one. Came out a couple years ago. It kind of flew in under the radar. People that saw it loved it pretty much across the board. And that's Summer of '84. It hits a lot of the similar beats, and then it has a couple twists and turns, and then it goes there, and then it gets crazy, and you really like all the characters. I really love Summer of '84. I need to add that to my collection. I would love to watch it again. But the one time I've seen it, I really liked it. So
I have not seen it all the way through, and I really want to. Honestly, I have a deal for half off of a Shudder membership again, and I'm really thinking about, or subscription. And I'm really thinking about joining again, because they have Summer of '84, and they have like those cursed films, and they have George A. Romero's Lost Film. So I want to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. My next one, this is just no particular order. The last one will be the one that kicked out at the end, but Sleepaway Camp. Only seen it the one time. Really, really enjoyed it. It is something where I have to be in a certain mood. It's just not something you're going to watch as often as Friday the 13th or some of the other camp slashers, but it is good. No spoilers, but just be ready for a wacky ride.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, I'm going to say Cabin in the Woods. Kind of has a summer vibe to it where it's like a bunch of friends going out to the cabin. Kind of gives you that vibe. I've been meaning to rewatch that because I haven't watched it in a while, but have a blast every time I watch that movie. Like, it's so much fun.
And that's a great mention.
Oh, so good, man. So good.
Yeah.
I throw on Death Proof just for giggles, just because I think that's a really good, like, hitcher kind of. It's not really a slasher. It's not really, but it's a thriller, and it's close enough. I just kind of threw that in there. And the one, oh, this hurts. I don't even want to do it. Am I going to do it? Yeah. I'm going to go, oh, God, I'm going to go Joyride. Joyride is the one that wanted to get into the 10 spot. I had to pull back and put another one in there.
That's pretty low. I'm kind of surprised. Wow, I'm surprised. But this made me realize I need to do 5 honorable mentions.
Gah. Did I throw an extra one in there? My bad. Like, Death Proof was one of those where I like, I just want to give it some respect.
You didn't throw an extra one in there. I have about 10 different lists handwritten, and I left a film out on my final list. So I have 5 honorable mentions. Do you have any more you'd like to throw in there?
I don't think so. None of them that wouldn't be a sequel to a movie that I'm going to talk about later. We both decided, / it just ended up that way, where we only put in one of the franchise movies because, like with Die Hard or with the Bruce Willis thing, it's just better if you just put in your favorite and move on.
Yeah, no, totally makes sense, and it just kind of fits. And we'll get there. I've got some things to say about 2 franchises that are in here. So honorable mentions. My first is going to be the It miniseries from 1990. Yep. It has a super summer kid vacation vibe throughout. Like, and it makes me think of being a kid again. So that's kind of where I'm breaking the rules, and that's why I didn't put it in the top 10 for me. Just because it feels like it kind of breaks what we're talking about, where like the first part I love, the second part is hit and miss, and I think John agrees with me on that. So
I actually like the second. I like the second half of the movie. I don't know. To me, I get it. I get all the complaints. The last 15 minutes. It's not exactly the puppeteering or anything else like that. It just. The first half, spoilers if you haven't seen the 90s miniseries, but the first half, the ending is Pennywise. Like, it's Tim Curry voicing it, warning them. Like, it's a big showdown at the end. It's very intense. And then you strip away the main villain and you give us something else. And it's like, and it just... I'm fine with the ending, but I understand why people complain about it. I actually don't have that much of a problem with the second half of the movie because Sorry, I know I'm going into it, but the first half, unlike the 2017-2019, they actually start off old and then they flash back. So that way when you're in the second half, it doesn't feel as disjointed. It feels very natural. So to me, it works a little bit better. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. So that one I tossed and turned with where should I put it, and it landed honorable mention pretty quick. Second honorable mention is going to be Sleepaway Camp. That's the movie I had it on every other list. I do thoroughly enjoy the movie, and for most people, summer horror films, that's going to be in the top 10, I feel like, right next to one of the Friday the 13th films. It's just going to be up there. Makes sense. I get it. But for me personally, I do have to be in a specific want to watch that movie, which doesn't happen a whole lot. But when I do have the urge to watch it, I'm all in. I'm fully invested in the movie. I do thoroughly enjoy the movie. That said, one of these on this list is going to make John really mad for honorable mention. So it's not this one. My next honorable mention is going to be The Devil's Rejects. Yep. I think, say what you will about Rob Zombie, I've said it a million times, that movie is gross and it's effective. And it is a summer horror-esque film. It separates itself from the traditional horror that's found throughout House of a Thousand Corpses and moves towards a thriller realism that is filled with terrible, terrible things. We all know it. But Devil's Rejects, Sid Haig and Bill Moseley do amazing, and that just, it's got to be in there for me. Just does. Yep. The next one is what's going to make John mad, and that's I Know What You Did Last Summer. It didn't quite make the list for a very specific reason. Very specific reason. It doesn't feel like summer throughout the movie.
Oh, okay. I'll buy that. Yeah, it really doesn't. Yeah, when you say it like that. Well, yeah, there's a couple things like the 4th of July, but the town that they're in, it feels like the town that they're in, but it doesn't feel like anything we're used to. Like, you just don't feel that. Like, you said something when we were making this list. You said, I want to feel the heat. You don't feel the heat in that movie. Maybe a couple scenes, but really you don't.
That. And that's the biggest issue where I have with some of these films on here. But as you'll see, it's on my honorable mentions. It's the title. It's the subject matter. It's the idea. It's the 4th of July party. It's the fishing time. It's the whole thing. Like, I get it. But for me, when I think summer, I have other movies that come first. But that one is always a thought. So, before John hits me. And my final honorable mention, and this was rough. I really wanted to put this in the list. And I really almost did swap it out with my number 10, which when we get there, that might make some people mad. And that is Vacancy. That movie.
It's right behind me.
It's disgusting. It's warm. It's a desert. It's got all those feels, and it feels like a film from 2002, like a 2002, 2004. You feel the colors, you feel the cinematography, you feel warm. So that one, I love that movie. Absolutely love it. But it just...
I need to rewatch it. I do like it. From everything I remember, I really do like it. It's just the problem of the top 10 I watch all the time, or I have a lot of respect for, or they actually move me. Like, so that's that. Move you. But yeah, no.
Horror moves you?
Well, some of these do. Like, some of these are like every time I watch Interview with a Vampire, it captures my attention. And a lot of that has to do with, like I said, the inner dialogue, the monologue throughout the movie, kind of like it just sinks me into the movie. I'm very invested throughout the movie. So a couple of these, I'm just very invested. Then, but those happen more towards the top end of my list. But anyway, all right. Well, let's see. I'll go. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Go first, man. Let's do it.
All right, my number 10 that edged out Joyride is not a better movie than Joyride, but it is a better horror movie than Joyride, and that is Jeepers Creepers. The chemistry between the sister and brother, the ride that the movie takes you on. Like I said, we're going to try to give no spoilers to any of these in case you haven't seen some of them. Some of these might be kind of a niche movie for us, maybe, but I'm sure you guys have seen Jeepers Creepers, but the ride that it takes you on, the horror and the suspense are awesome. And you don't get it in a lot of movies. Like, it combines a lot of different things that you're used to and not used to. It's not boring. It's never boring throughout the entire movie. Even when it's like the character development's never boring. Always moving forward, always intense. So yeah, Jeepers Creepers. And if anybody ever watches this in the future, we know Victor Salva and the stuff that goes along with that. We don't approve or support that in any way. It's just one of those things where a lot of other people were involved in the movie, and we still can love the movie without trying to, support that. But anyway, sorry it was a stupid disclaimer, but
No, it's fine. I mean, honestly, when I was younger, my mom bought me the Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2 2-pack. Throughout the years, I sold it, and I refused to buy a Jeepers Creepers film again firsthand because of everything going on. So I got mine at Dollar Tree, which that means that it's been passed down from store to store to store to store to store to store, where you buy it for $1. So at that point,
I bought my copies. I bought my copies after he relinquished the rights. Now I'm sure he still gets residuals on something or other. I don't know.
Absolutely. It's not a great. I'm not like saying that I took a moral high ground or anything like that. It's just I feel a little bit better knowing that my money doesn't directly line his pocket in a way.
Yeah.
My money didn't go to. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to say it. I'm with you.
There's better places to put your money.
Yes. So, I think my number 10 and my last honorable mention are neck and neck. And this is going to frustrate the guy above me real quick. I texted him and I said, most of this franchise does not feel like summer. 99% of it just doesn't. But it's the premise of the films. That's Friday the 13th. You have a whole lot of movies to pick from. The first one doesn't hold on. I haven't said which film. I haven't said that yet. The first one doesn't particularly feel super summer-esque, and it tends not to be people's favorite because everybody rallies around Jason. The second one is still not 100% summer. Third, hit or miss. There's some heavy sweaters. There's also some sweat. 4 feels more like fall or spring.
It really does.
5, on the other hand, does have a lot of summer vibes until like the last half. 6, 7, 8, nope. Jason Goes to Hell, no. Jason X, definitely not. Freddy versus Jason, no. So that leaves 1. Friday the 13th Reboot, 2009, is the most summer feeling in the franchise, I think. It's not my favorite in the franchise, but it feels the most like summer. And that was a difficult distinction for me to make because you have no idea how badly I wanted to put Friday 3 or Friday 4 or even 6 because it's actually taking place at an open summer camp, but everybody's wearing coats.
Right. Even the cop in it, he's got that big heavy cop coat that he's wearing. Yeah.
So
the jean jacket.
Friday Reboot, and I like the Friday Reboot, so I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm just saying it feels the most summer.
Yeah.
And I really do like Vacancy, and it was really hard to not kick Friday the 13th out of the top 10.
Yeah, to not have Friday the 13th in a summer movie is almost sacrilegious. Like, you almost lose any credibility. So my number 9, and this one's one where I was like, hey, can we do monsters? And he was like, yes. And I was like, okay. This is probably by today's standards more of a thriller, but I love it. It just feels like the fun time with your buddy. It feels hot, and that is Tremors. I love Tremors. I love 1, 2, and 3, and then the rest. I can watch the rest. I really don't like 4. I've seen them all except for the last one. I watched about half of it and gave up. But I love the original one. Well, I love 1 and 2.
That is a super solid pick. And if I had seen a Tremors film in the past 10 years, it'd probably be on my list. Spoilers, it's not on my list. But if I revisit it, I might adjust this list for it. I remember really liking the first 2 when I was younger. I don't really remember many of the sequels. I am disappointed that the Kevin Bacon trailer was released and then they effectively axed it. That's obnoxious. You got Kevin Bacon back and then you killed the project. What?
I know.
What?
Yeah, if Kevin Bacon's down, then you go with it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. God, I think that's why I haven't revisited it since like it's been back on my radar. Is when I saw that and that happened, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, for me the franchise is 1, 2, and 3, and then like 5 and 6 aren't terrible. They're like watchable, but you're watching it just for the small moments of awesome. And I like Jamie Kennedy, so it's nice to see him in them. But he's not enough to hold it. But yeah. Anyway, that's my number 9.
Number 9. This one's grotesque. This one came out of nowhere and made a lot of people sick and made a lot of people happy. And for me, it's always just kind of been a background movie that feels summer vibes to me, and that is Cabin Fever. The first one, not the second one, not the reboot, remake, requel that was the same exact story as the first one, but with less cool things. But the first one. That movie is weird. The leg shaving scene.
I've actually never seen it. I don't know why. It's behind me. It's behind me. I just haven't seen it.
Oh my God, that's your homework assignment.
Oh, dude.
Oh my God.
Hey, don't even start with me. You still haven't watched Surviving the Game. It's been like 2 years. I'll kill you.
It's over there with Sarah Connor Chronicles Season 2.
Yeah, watch Surviving the Game first. But yeah, no, I've been meaning to. There's a lot of love for it, which is why I bought it. I just have not got to it yet.
And you bought multiple copies and gave me one, which was awesome.
I did.
Because I lost again one of the movies that I'm like I used to have and I don't know what happened. So yeah, thank you for that because I love that movie. It's a movie. It is a movie.
I promise to get on that soon, I promise. I was so tired last night, I was like...
After, you'll get it. You'll get it.
Yeah. No, I was so tired last night, I was like, I need to watch something that'll pep me up, and I put in Army of Darkness, and I still passed out.
Nice.
My number 8 is going to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And just like Caleb, I'm going to suspend it a little bit. So you've got the original, right? 74. You've got the 03. I mean, you've got other ones in there, too, that really feel like summer. You do. The new one feels like summer. But really, though, I'm going to go with... now, this is for me. This is my top list, and it's summer. I think 1974 is a better movie. I would put it over it. But it'd be 2003's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That whole movie, they're sweating, and it feels gross. Like, they're still sweating in the original, but for some reason, you almost... hear the heat in the original movie, but in the 2003 you just feel it all around. Like it just, I don't know why, it just, there's a bit of a difference. I don't know, but I would go 2003 is the one I prefer for entertainment, summer vibes. It would go there.
That is, I'm gonna get there. Oh, I'm gonna get there. That is a good pick. I'm going to get there. My number 8 is a weird movie that I feel like a lot of people haven't seen. Or if they have, it's one of those movies they caught years later with ads on daytime TV, and that is Highwaymen. Not the one you're thinking of, but the one I let John borrow.
Yeah.
Hold on. This guy here. It is a very unique horror movie. It's more thriller, suspense. It's kind of in the vein of Seven, but it is a summer movie for the most part. Desert roads, long stretches of highway. It's car horror, which to me always thinks road trip, which translates to summer. And it's one of those movies that every time it starts to get warm out, it's one of the first movies that pops in my head to toss in my DVD player.
Yeah, that movie right there, it's so good. Like the acting pushes it to a better level, and you can feel that it's a little bit low budget, but they use every dollar very, very well.
Yeah.
And it does the same thing where it rides some of your expectations, and then it subverts some of your expectations. Like
Yeah.
I did really enjoy that movie. Like I was like, okay, I'm down for this, and then it gives you a little something special, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I recommend it if you haven't seen it. Give it a shot. Go into it with an open mind. I don't know if it's streaming, but I know I got that secondhand for $2.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's definitely worth $2 all day, every day. My lucky number 7 is going to be another one from a franchise, which actually I think all the rest of these are. Yep. But anyway, except for one, sorry. But anyway, my number 7 is going to be Friday the 13th, and of course, just like Caleb said, for all the reasons Caleb said, it is the 2009. Gives me multiple feels and vibes from the franchise. Gives me a lot in a small amount of time. I'm never bored. I love the characters. I know people have their problems, and I can understand why that would bother you. It doesn't bother me. I can relate to this movie a lot better than I can the 1980. I love the 1980 for all of its reasons, but the 2009 is endlessly rewatchable. We did a ranking of the reboots, and I put Friday the 13th over Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I still stand by that. I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 is a better movie, but I enjoy Friday the 13th 09 better than I do Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. And again, it shows in my list.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's funny because I wondered if when I texted you that, if you were having the same struggle with Friday the 13th as a franchise. Because I'm in my head, I'm picturing characters from the different movies, and I'm like, you're in a coat. I see fog when you breathe. And I'm like, this isn't summer. And then the closest one that should be to summer, with an open summer camp, everybody's in a coat or a sweater. So I'm like, Reboot. Reboot gets it. Definitely. Freddy versus Jason almost got it just because it was like summer blockbuster, big deal. But it just doesn't feel like a summer movie, other than the fact that it was a summer blockbuster.
Right. Well, they're still in school too, like solid in school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. God, we're already at 7, right?
Oh, you're at 7. Yep.
So, Jeepers Creepers. I love this movie. It is a really good summer horror flick. You feel the heat in the film with the sweat, with it, the road, the creature, the abandoned area, the small town, the weird restaurant, the near empty police. It's like a perfect summer horror film. As he said earlier, we have things that we don't agree with, but that doesn't take away from the people involved in the film who weren't complete scumbags. And it's a fun horror film, especially it's one of the top ones that I think of when I think of a summer horror movie. It was actually kind of hard to put it at number 7. Personally, I think it got so low because of Victor. If he wasn't involved, it might be in my top 3.
Yeah, there's things in the movie that once you know the history and then you look at certain tones and things that happen in the movie, it just hits home a little too close. You're just like, yeah, like I don't know. It's weird because it's almost like watching like when I watched the Gacy tapes or the Bundy tapes. It's like I want to watch this, but I need to try to stay focused in the fact, and not stay focused might not be the right word, but come at it from a history, the depth of evil, like what the survivors went through and things like that, like, and not enjoy this as like tell somebody, oh my God, man, this is great, you got to watch this. Like more of a respectful approach because it's real life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it kind of goes into those vibes. Like yeah.
No, it's a tough one to place on the list because of him. If he wasn't who he was, it would be easy. But, yeah.
My number 6 is, I think, and I'm probably wrong, but to the best of my ability right now, is my first horror movie theatrical experience, I believe. Can't think of anything before it, but that is I Know What You Did Last Summer. And
Yeah.
it, for me, there's some parts of this movie that actually are better than Scream. Now, that's a completely different argument because Scream is not a summer movie. You can watch it whenever you want, but it's not a summer movie. But I Know What You Did Last Summer. Yeah, they're celebrating. They're in the summer. You have 2 different summers span. It's in the title. It does lose some of those summer vibes, but I still go to it just because of the second movie has more of that summer vibe, so it just kind of helps solidify the first. Anyway, I love I Know What You Did Last Summer. It comes in at number 6, mostly because of my love, and it just has just enough summer to push it that far up.
Yeah.
So,
That's fair.
It's just ahead of the Friday the 13th remake, so I love the Friday the 13th remake. So, like, I'll watch Friday the 13th remake more than I will I Know What You Did Last Summer, but I respect I Know What You Did Last Summer a heck of a lot more just because it's more original. And it's got some twists and turns. It's fun. I love the characters. The actors are great. Like, and it's got a little bit more stakes to it than the original Scream. But anyway, I know everybody compares it to Scream, so sometimes I got to give it some praise.
I need to get you in that fisherman cosplay for the next Crypticon, whenever that's going to be.
Yeah, I've never seen one. I mean, I know they're out there probably, but that would be a really sweet cosplay. God, is that going to be hot? Hopefully it's in like October or something.
Well, that's where you just wear like a muscle shirt under the coat.
Yeah. No, I'm just naked, just walking around.
You say that now, and then the cops get called.
Right.
My number 6 is a very strange pick, and I'm interested to see John's reaction to it. I actually really love this movie, and I've loved it since I was a kid. I can see why people wouldn't necessarily think it's a summer movie, but it is warm. It's taking place in the South. There's so much happening that makes me feel like it's summer. Dusty roads, sweat, people complaining that the AC isn't working, and that is Maximum Overdrive.
Oh.
I love that movie.
Overdrive.
Maximum Overdrive is one of my favorite oddball movies of all time. I think it's absolutely absurd, but it works. I love the characters. I love the trucks. I love the thought of like machines taking over in a cheesy way, versus like, Terminator 2. But it's so much fun. And I know that it's adapted from Trucks, which got its own movie, and there's like a whole dilemma with Maximum Overdrive versus the original story, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. I love Maximum Overdrive. Love that movie. I love the AC/DC got the whole soundtrack. I love everything about that movie. Yeah, Maximum Overdrive is my number 6, and you won't change my mind.
Deb's here. Hey, Deb. She says that's how I get banned for life. Yeah, it's by being naked under the trench coat thing. Yeah, yeah. Maximum Overdrive, just a little tidbit there. That's the one and only movie that Stephen King ever directed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so my number 5 was one of Caleb's honorable mentions, and that is the 1990 Stephen King's It. I love this movie. As a kid, I've always loved it. It is, to this day, probably one of the best character pieces, character studies, character development, inner friendships. It really has that Stephen King vibes. Look at all of his movies where he has that connection between the characters. Like, this is the strongest connection, I think. That, it even goes down to like the special of Lucky Number 7, like, right? Like it was supposed to be Bev with the slingshot. Like, it just always reinforces their love for each other. The book goes a little too far from what I understand. I've never read it, but
oh man, I have about 23 out of 46 hours left. I've been audiobooking it, and man, it goes far. Now, I haven't made it to the part yet, but I think I'm getting close. Um, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to put the remake, but like I said, I actually prefer the 1990 over the remake. If you delete the second half, they're almost like the 2017 almost could compete with the 1990 miniseries, but the second half, I don't mind it. I don't hate it like everybody else, but it just can't capture the magic of that first movie. The chemistry is not there. It's pretty good for the actors. Actors are great. It just can't quite connect. I don't know what it is. There's a disconnect. I think what it is that in the 1990 miniseries, like I said, starts off with them old, then it goes back young, and it keeps bouncing back and forth. So you always have a connection between the older guys and the younger guys. One outshines the other to most people. I get that, but you feel that. And the second one, it's kind of in the new one, it's kind of jarring, and it just they're not the same kids. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
that was my number 5.
No, that's a solid mention, and I had it my honorable. Like I said, I felt like I was breaking the rules. I wasn't 100%, so I let it land in honorable. But it's the summer vibe. Like, it just is. Absolutely. All right. My number 5. This is another kind of rule breaker. And when John texted and asked, "Can we do monsters?" I was like, "Well, I already got one." So, and this is a great movie. That is From Dusk Till Dawn.
Ah, yeah.
Absolutely fun summer horror movie. Horror, action, comedy, everything. Everything. Such a fun movie. There's a Mercury Cougar. That thing is so sweet. George Clooney in that role is just weird and wild. Like, if you stack up the rest of his filmography against that, it's just like, what? That's weird. But it worked really well, and I kind of wish they would have done the right thing and not sequeled it like they did, and maybe went back in 5-10 years and gave us a little bit more of his story. That would have been, I think, a far better movie than any of the sequels that it got.
Yeah, 2 and 3 are garbage. There's some redeeming factors in 2, but for the most part, it's garbage. I wanted to put From Dusk Till Dawn on mine, but it was kind of missing that when I think summer horror, I just gravitate towards the kids and the summer and the or spring break, or and then the heat, like you were saying. So I completely understand why you put yours in there. It didn't feel right to me.
Yeah.
There for a little while when I was younger, mid 90s, early 2000s. From Dusk Till Dawn was top 5 for me. Top 5 movies. It almost competed for my favorite movie of all time. Like, I love that movie. For whatever reason, I just didn't get the vibe and the tone to put it on here. I don't know why. Selma Hayek, holy jumping Jiminy! I tell you what.
The first season was good. I gave up after that because I felt like it was deviating so far from the source material, and I was like, I'm out. I've wanted to go back and finish it, but the first season was pretty solid.
I never watched it. I love George Clooney. I think Quentin Tarantino, that's probably his best performance out of any movie. I mean, might be able to. I liked him in Pulp Fiction. He was good, but for the most part, I really think that's probably his best acting. I think. I don't know. People like to say maybe he's a bit of a creep because I don't know. He does so well. They kind of joke about it. I don't think so, but anyway. I do love From Dusk Till Dawn. I really do. My number 4 is Predator. 1987's Arnold. I mean, it's hot throughout that whole movie. They even talk about it. There's a section in there where, when it gets really, really hot, that's when they come. They need the heat to be out there. They kind of get away from that in, like, AVP. They do it again in the second Predator. The whole movie, like, it gets so hot, like, as they go, they start off and they got all their big packs in their outfits and things like that, and as they go, like, Arnold's in nothing basically by the end of the movie. It's just so hot, and he's just so, like, probably nasty. Like, you see as he's Mac is shaving with his sweat, right, and then he snaps the razor and the blood comes out. Like, it's just hot throughout the whole movie. I love the Predator. It's fantastic. It hurt to kind of put it here because it's so good that it wanted to take the third spot, but I couldn't put it in the third spot.
I want to say I contemplated putting Predator on this list for a while, and I decided against it just because and I totally understand why it's on your list. I do. I felt the argument could be made that it wasn't necessarily horror, so I pulled it out. I also pulled out Tuck and Dale versus Evil for the same thing.
Yeah, Tuck and Dale, I thought about it, and you can make an argument. They're at the tail end where things go crazy. It becomes a bit of horror, but it's just a little bit. And I would say that the Predator, the one thing that puts the Predator in there for me is the skinning and the ripping out of the spine and stuff like that. Like, it's pretty, there's some scary stuff in that movie. And if you were in that movie, you'd be scared. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I totally get why it's on your list. I was like, it was a hard choice, but it's not on mine. So I'm going to continue like it's not and be angry. But here we are. My number 4 is a disgusting film called High Tension.
God, still never seen it. It's literally right here.
My man.
It's on my list.
My man. It is gross. It feels warm. It feels like summer. People are constantly sweating. People are on the run. The cinematography makes it look like summer afternoons, almost Texas Chainsaw Massacre style. It gets summer horror movie for me. And honestly, it would be higher. Oh, it's really hard to put it in fourth. Really hard to put it in fourth. It wants to be in third or second, but it's where it lands. I have my feels. John needs to watch this and Cabin Fever now. But, High Tension.
Tuck and Dale versus the Evil. But good call. Keeping it off. Yeah. Dude, I love that movie so much. He's like, what are we going to tell them? What are we going to tell them? That these kids just keep coming and killing themselves? We've had a doozy on
college kids. College kids.
Oh my God. He gets stung and he's like using the beer for his like bee stings. Oh my God. I love that movie.
And he walks up with the scythe just
right. I love when all the kids are like running away and then all of a sudden that branch comes out of nowhere. Oh my God. It's so good. Tucker and Dale. If you haven't seen that, guys, you got to watch it.
Yeah. Great movie. Great movie.
I'm going to spoil something because I'm in the top 3 now. I'm going to spoil something and say I want to give an honorable mention because like Caleb was talking about High Tension. It makes me think of The Descent. I didn't put it on my list because it's more The Descent. This is not a spoiler, but it deals more with caves and stuff like that. Like it's in kind of a summer-esque time, but it just doesn't quite feel summer horror. But I wanted to give a little shout out for that because I thought about it, but then when you said it, I was like, yeah, I need to say that. But yeah, all women cast, directed by a woman, like for the time in the mid 2000s, 2005, I think is what it was. Kind of cool, not necessarily groundbreaking, but pretty cool. Pretty cool for its time.
Yep. Solid.
My number 3. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was just saying solid mention, and I'm going to piggyback on that and say I thought about it on my list, but I was like, yeah. I went back and forth. So yeah, Descent, solid. So yes, you're number 3.
Great movie. My number 3 is The Lost Boys. What can you say? It's one of the best vampire movies out there. It's one of the best buddies. It's comedy horror. It's got the sexy sax man on there. I still believe. Oh my God! Like the mom is the same mom from Edward Scissorhands. Love that actress. Everybody just. It's just such a good one, man. And it's peak 80s nostalgia. Like it's like right when the 80s started to go away from itself, when they were like, let's make the hair as big as possible. Let's get as rock and roll as possible. After 87 to like 88, 89 is when they really started to go against the 80s and would kind of get into the dullness of the 90s. It's the last breath of the greatness of the 80s. I love I love it. I love it. I was so stoked when I was in college when the sequel came out and was super disappointed. The third one's not as bad as the second one, but it's still crap. Lost Boys, I'll keep it there, but I gotta love the Lost Boys. Music's great.
I understand why people like it. Just not that big of a fan. And I absolutely refuse to watch the sequels. There's no way. I can't, no. There's certain movies that should be left alone, and from the perspective of someone who's not a huge fan of the first, but can see why it's a big deal in our society, that's a film that should have been left alone. Just leave it as is. It's a good
because, like I said,
movie to leave.
It's so special. It captures the peak 80s. Like, you can't go back and do that. It is lightning in a bottle for reasons. Things hit perfectly. You had the biggest child actors of all time, probably, right? I mean, the Coreys, all-time biggest child actors? I mean, I could be wrong. Kiefer Sutherland, right? Like the music and everything is iconic. Joel Schumacher's iconic. The spin on Peter Pan and that horror-esque. Dude, it's just... I'm sad that you don't like it, but it's my number 3. It will never move up from my number 2 or my number 1, though. And my number 2 and number 1 want to fight each other, but they can't.
Yeah.
Which no,
yeah. That'd be like sequeling the Goonies. It's just a bad idea.
They wanted to. They're still talking about it. Sequeling the Goonies.
I know, but they need to not. Let's just not do it.
Don't do it.
You got to leave it where it's at. It's a time capsule at this point. We'll get there one day, I'm sure. My number 3. Here we are again, deep in the heart of franchise territory. You have 1974's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You have Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which is a solid summer flick. You have 3, which is, next gen, Reboot, Beginning, 3D, Leatherface 2017, and Texas Chainsaw 22. All of those feel like summer movies. And this one was a difficult choice for me because 2 of these entries are some of the greatest horror movies ever made. One of these entries is just a film that I happen to watch a lot more than the others. So for me, it was between Texas Chainsaw 3D, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Remake, and the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I knocked out the original on one reason. I don't watch it every summer. Again, it's one of those movies that you have to be in the right place to watch. Now, that said, it is the better movie. And then I knocked out 3D. Because although I love the movie, I watch it more often, it just doesn't feel quite as disgusting as the remake. That movie is summer through a screen. If you have a cold winter day, just pop that in. Like, it radiates the heat. It radiates the tension. It just feels gross. It feels hot and humid and blah. And so I had to give the edge to the remake. And that was a rough decision. I actually still have all 3 written here in my number 3 spot because I'm like, I don't know. I've been sitting here thinking about it the whole time. And I have to give it to the remake.
Yeah, I do want to say that, back to what I was saying earlier, I do want to say that I do think that you can feel the heat more in the original, but I don't know. I don't know. I think it's because I can relate. I like the characters a little bit better. They're just less obnoxious in the 2003, and I can relate to them and how they look as opposed to very dated, which is dumb because it's set in the 70s as well. But I just feel more connection to those characters where I feel the heat more from them. But I will say that there's more heat present in the original. I don't know. It's stupid. I don't know why I'm going this far into depth, but I just want to give the respect to the first movie.
Absolutely.
My number two is Breaking Some Rules. It's the heat that you can feel. It's horrific because it's based on a true story. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's probably in my top 10. It doesn't get talked enough about it. Great acting. It's probably the last great acting of these two actors. I love it. And it's The Ghost in the Darkness. 1996. Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer. Savo, Africa. Lions start attacking the workers. And they have to defend the workers, and they have to build the bridge to complete their assignment. And it just, like I said, it moves me. It puts me into the characters. Like, what would you do? Like, how would you react? The heat, like they are cut off from the modern world for the most part, and they have to deal with this. It's not necessarily a completely fish out of water, but really, like, you're out of your depth with these. Like, it should be something simple, and it's not. I cannot say enough good things about this movie. Ever since I was a kid and saw this movie, I was always hooked. The music that they put in there puts you in the setting, puts you in the mood, and it's hot. Always hot and isolating. Like, it feels kind of like The Shining. Kind of feels like The Thing, where they can't go anywhere, they're stuck. They can, but it just gives you that feeling. Anyway, I love The Ghost in the Darkness. Watch it if you haven't seen it. Love it, love it, love it.
I haven't seen it, and you gave me a copy.
God dang.
What you said about that makes me think about two movies I didn't even cross my mind to put on this. And that is Anaconda, which if you get past the CGI, it's a fun movie. And also Congo.
Love Congo. Very good.
I haven't seen that since I was a kid. God, I loved that movie. Oh my God. And Bats. Oh man.
Never seen it.
Oh, it's so bad it's good. Those don't actually deserve to be on this list. I'm just saying that what he said about that film made me think of those.
I want to say real quick on Anaconda, and I could be wrong on this, but you said the CGI. I want to say it was, I can't remember. It was either $10,000 or $100,000 a second when you see the snake in CGI. It's insane how much money they spent on that. And at the time it looked pretty good. Now
it did. It did.
It's good enough now.
And I remember
good enough because of the time.
Dude, I bought the VHS, and I thought it was so cool that it had the scales around the eyes, and it had that reflective. Dude, that was awesome. I wish I still had that on VHS. I love that movie. I actually don't own it. I need it.
That movie's underappreciated. It is. Like the acting, the stakes, the threat. And it really puts, like, once again, it puts you into the scene, it puts you in the area, and all the actors do a great job. And it's a great movie. It really is a great movie. It doesn't touch The Ghost in the Darkness, but
no. At this point, I'm kind of wishing it was in my honorable mentions. So maybe throw that in there. My number 2, and I don't think John has seen this either. I could be wrong. This is a franchise film that even got its own TV series, and now the third film is being worked on, and that is Wolf Creek, and I choose the second one. The first one is a far better horror movie, absolutely, but the second one it feels warmer, it feels more summer, it feels grimier. The first one is a grosser feeling movie because it's a slow build, and you get to see a little bit more of the victim's perspective, whereas with the sequel, it's all about Mick Taylor, and it's about his presence, which gives a very comedic approach, almost a Freddy Krueger-esque if, he was human. I really, really, really enjoy Wolf Creek 2, probably more than I should. I really enjoy Mick Taylor's character. John, if you haven't seen the Wolf Creek movies, I don't know. Add them to the list. They're fun.
It's behind me.
The first one or the second one?
The first one's behind me. I didn't know there was a second one. I haven't seen it, but yeah, it's behind me.
The first one is a slower movie. It takes a minute to pick up. When it gets there, it's grotesque. The second one is much more fast-paced, more fun, more action, more in your face, and a lot more dark comedy because of who the villain is. I really recommend the second one more than the first. The first is probably a better movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, I think, Tremors, I think, yeah, I think the second one, I enjoy watching the second one more, but the first one is a better movie. Enough to where I actually put the first one ahead of the second one, if that makes sense. Like, let me double down on that and tweak it a little bit more, yeah. I like the second one more, but the first one's higher quality enough to put it ahead. Yeah, it's so dumb. But
no, I get you.
All right, my number one, and I'm just going to spoil this. Uh-oh, hang on. Deb's here. Hang on. Can't see. Yep, thank you.
Think it's watchable out of order
then? Is it?
For Wolf Creek, yes. I don't recommend watching the show without watching the first movie. You can probably watch the second movie and just be okay there, but the show itself kind of depends on you understanding some of the things in the first film. Not a lot, but just enough that the timeline's kind of, it's not as bad as Fast and the Furious, but it gets a little confusing. And now the third film coming out, I believe, is supposed to be the end of the Mick Taylor story arc, especially with his age. But that was what was said about season 2 of the show, but I don't know. Yeah, I think it could be watched out of order.
I had to keep.
It was a bit intense back then. We'll give it another try. Yeah, the first one is intense, and the second one is too. But with the comedy, it's easier to deal with. The first movie doesn't have that comedic approach. It's just dark. Now, going back, once you have seen Mick Taylor in the second movie or in the series, you can definitely appreciate some of his comedy towards the end. But it's still just a darker film, so it's harder to swallow.
All right, well, my number one, and this is going to be a spoiler because I'm just going to spoil Caleb's number one, because anybody that doesn't have this as their number one is wrong.
Oh, you're going to hate me.
Comedy cover A World of Hurt.
Yeah. It does. John's going to hate me.
My number one and Caleb's number one, I don't have it next to me, unfortunately. It's Jaws.
Nope.
And I don't want to hear anything else but Jaws is my number one. And if Jaws didn't make your top 10, you get out of here. Well, go find somebody else that's got initials with K. Where's Kevin? Where's Kevin? Like, how does Jaws not make your number one? 1975, it's the movie that brought you blockbusters. It is that created the tentpole movies. It's one of the best thriller horror movies, monster movies of all time, buddy movies. It's a summer horror. How did it not make your top 10? It's Jaws.
2 reasons. 1, I haven't seen it since I was a little kid. 2, I don't have the patience to sit down and watch it since I was a little kid.
Oh my God. Caleb, you're killing me. I mean, it's Jaws, man. And Deb, what are you saying? Boo. It's Jaws.
I think she's booing me.
Oh, okay. It's slow.
Oh,
I can't read because you're checkerboard.
Slow, man. It's so slow, man.
Oh, you're killing me. You younger kids. You younger kids.
Grandpa's getting mad over here. Somebody get him his Metamucil.
Jaws. It's Jaws, it's Jaws, it's Jaws. On everybody's top, it's Jaws. I don't want to hear it.
So my number one is Joyride. And I am not lying. That movie is the most summer horror movie of all time. In my opinion. When I think summer, that is the horror movie that coincides with it. Joyride. And like she said, Jaws is the correct answer, but it's the summer classic, but not mine.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a generic, typical, respectable answer, but it's not the one that works for me.
Oh.
What works for me is Joyride.
Man.
It's a buddy film. It's grimy, it's gross, it's road trip, it's got comedy, it's got a love interest that
Steve Zahn.
Dude.
Isn't that Steve Zahn? Isn't that guy's name? I mean, you got Paul Walker, but you got Steve Zahn, wasn't it? Steve. Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, from National Security. Yeah.
Yep.
Saving Silverman. Steve
I don't know,
something.
man.
I'm pretty sure it's Steve Zahn.
You can be as mad as you want, but this is like the best thing. And look, I've even got a 29-minute alternate ending on DVD.
No, and I'll actually say I watched the second one. The second one actually isn't too bad. And the
I
third
haven't
one,
seen 2 or 3.
It wasn't too bad either. They're not bad. They're not good, but well, okay. They're a B-list entertainment. Like Joyride is a solid 9.
I haven't seen the other 2, although in my Walmart cart is the threequel, and it's like $7.99. I just can't commit. I've got too many financial things going on at the moment. I need to buy it, but because I want to see the sequels. Like, it's a morbid curiosity. I know there's no way it can live up to this cast, this directing, this level. Absolutely not. But it's almost like I started, I have to finish. Kind of like why I'm afraid to go back and watch Children of the Corn again, because I'm really afraid that I'm going to have to go and watch all of them, and I don't want to do it. I really don't. There's a lot of bad movies.
I'm going to watch that first one and call it a day. But no, the second one, it does some different things that make it interesting. And I liked the characters enough to care. So it carried my interest. And the third one, I want to say, maybe I haven't seen it because I don't remember anything from the third one. Maybe I haven't seen the third one, but the second one carried my interest enough to watch the movie and to own it. But it came in a 2-pack, I think. No, I bought the second one anyway. Guys, I don't know what to say. I'm kind of thrown off here that Jaws didn't make the list. Deb, would it make your top 10? Tell me Jaws would make your top 10. Like, it's Jaws. It is in the summer. They're in the water. There is a shark. The chemistry of the characters is awesome. Steven Spielberg's masterpiece. Like, okay, good. Thank you. It's in your top 10. Like, I understand. I'm taken back. Like, man, Caleb is so 90s punk rock and roll. I can't keep up. Like, I should not be shocked, but I'm shocked. It's Jaws.
Nope.
What does it say, Caleb?
It's not going to make my list.
I can't see your checkerboard.
Even top 3 probably, but it's just not a favorite. And here's the deal. Does it deserve it? Probably. I haven't watched it in a long time. I didn't really like it when I did watch it. I thought the concept was cool. I don't have the patience to sit through it as an adult because time is precious. Especially now with the toddler.
Event movie. Yeah.
But my number 1 is I Know What You Didn't Know. It's the Lost Boys. John mentioned Lost Boys. I am a firm believer that Lost Boys is overrated.
I don't understand.
I get it. I really do. But
is rock and roll. It's fun, and it's not necessarily too scary. As a younger kid, it was a little intense, just because, especially when we were growing up, you hadn't seen quite as much. Now we've seen a lot more, where it's more just a thriller for us. But
man, you're just shooketh.
I am, dude. I'm like, it's Jaws. It's not even on your list. I was like, if it hadn't made it to the top three, it's number one. It's not even on his list.
I want
Hey, Deb,
you to know. I put Anaconda as an honorable mention and didn't even
I
put
know.
Jaws on the list.
I know. That's why you fail. Like, you fail. Fail. Like, it just, like, for all the reasons I just said, it put some respect on it. No, Deb, have you seen The Ghost in the Darkness? Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer? There's my number two. Not necessarily a whole lot of summer, but like the heat and the vibes of summer. It's awesome. Fear Street 94 on your list? Fear Street 94. I had a good time with Fear Street. It was just enjoyable. It's probably not anything I'm ever going to go back to. It's a lot. Fear Street 78, 94. Caleb, it's the Netflix show that came out last year.
Deborah said, Us is my least fave, but it's in summer. Wouldn't really think it fit your criteria. Cabin in the Woods or Anaconda would be hers. That's fine. Fear Street 94. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. It was a good way to waste some time. That's for sure. I know what you did last summer.
That was sarcasm.
And there's so many choices. Honestly,
I know what you did last summer.
Like I said, it got honorable mention just because, like, I know it takes place in the summer, but it totally feels like a spring or fall movie. Like, it just does. It's damp, always. I
feel like it's
everybody's in a sweater. Lake Placid. Okay, first off, Betty White is a badass. Let's just get that out in the open. Just bringing cows. God, I need to revisit that movie. It's been so long. Honestly, I haven't seen a ton of summer horror. That's fair.
What's funny?
This list was difficult.
It was when we were in our winter horror kind of vibes. I was thinking I was more summer horror, but now that I'm leaning. Now we're talking about summer. I feel like I'm more winter. Like, I want to do kind of a winter list and do a back to back and see where I might write down a winter list. We might have to do that sometime, but Lake Placid is great. So it goes for me. It's Jaws, then Ghost in the Darkness. Oh man, monster movies. Might have to rank some monster movies. Actually, I'm gonna hold off on that. Let's hold off on that. We might rank monster movies someday. If you haven't seen Ghost in the Darkness, though, it's just like a hidden gem I have to scream at every time. Tucker and Dale. Yeah, we talked about Tucker and Dale. Honorable mentions.
We both wanted it on the list, but we both felt like it kind of broke some of the horror rules, so we both left it off. But yeah, that movie, I can put that movie on anytime. That is hilarious.
That movie's like
kids that kill themselves all over our property.
that movie's like the Natty Light of horror comedy. Like I don't know. It's like so much comedy, and then it throws a little horror at you, and it's just like it's more of a comedy, but you need to kind of like horror to really appreciate the movie because it's more comedy than it is horror.
Absolutely. I think we both have solid lists.
Yeah.
You want a little generic on the first pick there, but that's
the number one or
fair, I guess. Yeah.
Most of mine are generic, but dude, it's Jaws. Like, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. It's Jaws. Jaws is number one. Shut up, everybody. If it's Jaws is not your number one, you're wrong. Okay, I'll be wrong on number two, maybe number three, number four, whatever it is. Number one is Jaws, period. For the respect, for the history, it's in summer. Anyway, it starts off with kids drinking on the beach and getting high, and she goes out and gets like summer. The whole thing revolves around people coming in for summer. Like, you can see the veins popping in my neck right now. Like, look.
I have triggered John. He's
John,
so
I
mad
wanna
right
hear
now.
it.
He's so mad. No,
I love
I get why
Joyride,
it's
but it
on your
didn't even
list.
make my top 10.
Oh, Joyride is the first movie that comes to mind with summer and horror. Absolutely. Every time. Every summer I'm
I do
like,
love Joyride. I
yep,
really
gotta
do.
watch Joyride.
Oh, come on, man. Crawl.
I
Crawl
haven't
was.
seen Crawl. I'm
Crawl
gonna be
is.
honest. I'm gonna be absolutely honest.
Oh, get out of here.
Monster movies aren't as fun for me. So large sharks, Godzilla, giant apes, lizards. It's not. I mean, fine. It can be fun, but I'm not scared. I'm not nervous. I'm not. I don't really usually gain an attachment to any of the characters in the movies, so I just kind of avoid them. Now, classic monsters that's different. They actually have a story, whereas I feel like with Jaws, the Meg, like the closest thing to a story with a monster I'm gonna get is Free Willy. That movie is awesome. I don't care who says what.
Yeah,
And the
it would have been
monsters, the
a
people.
better suggestion for horror if Willie ate the kid though at the end. But no, real
No,
quick,
the other kids are
Crawl is
terrible.
very entertaining up to the last 10 minutes.
Although I do want to see Jason Statham versus a shark. I do have a morbid curiosity. Like, does he full on
I
transporter?
do.
Does he wind up without a shirt, covered in motor oil, fist fighting a shark? I'm just curious.
He dives and spears himself right into the eyeball of the shark, and that's how it gets blinded and dies. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I bought it. Well, another movie where it's like, guys, I've seen a lot of movies. I just haven't seen everything. But yeah, guys, if you're watching this in the future, comment down below. Deb, comment down below, or go to when I post this, go to our YouTube and post it on there. Let us see what your top 10 is. Jabari, do the same, man. Yeah. It was a crazy night. I learned things about Caleb I never knew before. This is probably where I'll end it, but I want to keep talking a little bit after this. This is where I'll end it for cutting later, but if you guys watched, we appreciate it. Show us your list below. We'll be back soon with maybe another, I'm kind of feeling maybe a horror Mount Rushmore video. That was a lot of fun. So, or I've been wanting to do a video on spoilers and what are the key points of spoilers, like how long is the expiration date on those. I think that'd be kind of fun because sometimes like I'm so scared to spoil anything, even from some of these old movies, because I just, you only get one chance to experience these, and if you watch things like ours, most of the time you probably would have been spoiled anyway, but I just don't want to be the guy that does that. So I try to avoid it, but it's hard when you're free flowing. But anyway, again, thank you for watching. Please comment, subscribe, do all the notification stuff so you can get some more R&R. We'll be back. Bye. We're going to stay around, though. So, I want to talk about something real quick, Caleb. You probably haven't seen it. I watched Once Upon a Time in America. Have you ever seen it?
No.
I forgot the director's name. I knew I was going to do it. It's kind of an artsy-fartsy name. I should know it because he's, like, really big in the directors. But anyway, it's got Robert De Niro. It's got James Woods. Love James Woods. And he's good in this movie. It's got Joe Pesci for about 2 seconds. It's a gangster movie, right? It's 3 hours and 40 minutes long. Oh my God. And the whole movie, I watched it over like 3 days. Yeah, I love gangster movies. Love gangster movies. They're right up there. They might actually be my favorite genre. I love gangster movies. This movie is trash. Like the whole thing. Like there's a couple little glimpses of things I liked, but for the most part, it is 3 hours and 40 minutes. I'll never get back. There's things that happen in this movie. It was made in 1984. There's things that happen in this movie that are not acceptable today, that you don't want to see, that it doesn't help the characters. It's not fun. Like a lot of gangster movies, there's a time in the gangster movies where they have fun doing what they're doing, and it's kind of their rise to power, and it adds to their downfall. Not in this movie. it just, I can't get over how
I
garbage this movie was from beginning to end. Oh,
I have
frustrating.
not seen it nor heard of it, to be honest. What I did watch, though, finish watching, is a Joaquin Phoenix film. I think it's exclusive to Amazon Prime, and that is You Were Never Really Here, um, where
Oh
he
yeah.
plays a veteran who's come home. His mom is like got some like dementia, and he's a hitman for hire, and he's suicidal, and he's dealing with PTSD, and then he winds up on this job where he's got to rescue a girl at all, like no matter what, and then he winds up like taking the girl under his wing because she's
Oh,
being abused. Um, so it's a weird movie. It's a little bit more on the like independent, like slow burn. It's not bad, not the best movie of all time, but it's definitely worth a watch. But it is one of those movies that you got to know going in that you're not gonna like. It's not a feel good movie. You don't feel good. You don't.
yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about the depth of that movie and like the yeah how it just really gets you involved with Joaquin's. Yeah, I've really heard good things, but I wanted to watch that too. But it's one of those that it just kind of goes under the radar. Like, yeah, it was good, and then move on. Like, yeah,
Yep.
huh? Yeah. Have you seen anything else?
And in random news, I did see that Friday the 13th Vengeance 2 is getting close to wrapping on filming, which I'm kind of
Oh, nice.
excited to see where that goes. Get a little more Elias Voorhees up in you. Um,
Yep.
I watched. Sorry, I'm trying to think. Oh, I can't think of the name of it. It was on Netflix, and it's like where they play retro video games. Choose or Die.
Oh,
It's called Choose or Die. It's a Netflix movie that's not really great, but they find this retro game. They stole the idea from Jumanji. Um, it's this retro video game, and they download it to their computer, and this elite cult thing makes you choose the action or you will die. So they might say something like, they might have you and one other person in the room while you're playing it, and they say foot or tongue, and you either pick or you die, and then say you say tongue, and somebody might cut their tongue out. And they're screaming, crying, doing it, trying to figure out why they're doing it, and they have no clue, and they just want it to stop. So it's a fun concept. It's mediocre at best, is how it was executed. Seen a Horrible Way to Die?
I can't.
No. I have not seen A Horrible
Yeah,
Way
yeah,
to Die.
yeah. Is that on Netflix or something?
What else?
Is it well? And is it good? I in the vein of what you're saying, Caleb, I forgot I watched the Blumhouse Truth or Dare. Oh,
Yeah.
movie had some movie had some possibilities. Like I enjoyed the one time watch. Overall, I'll probably never go back to it. I actually prefer the other Truth or Dare that came out that's on Netflix. But
I,
I mean, I enjoyed it. It just, I feel like it was close to reaching something really good, and then it just kind of fell on its face. I don't know. I don't know. You
yeah.
watch it, you let me know. It was good enough for a watch, but I don't know, it didn't, yeah.
I haven't seen either Truth or Dare. I have very little interest. Even when they came out, I was like, nah, I'll save my money. I did go back and kind of start dabbling in the Masters of Horror again. I watched Cigarette Burn. I think I mentioned that before. I watched it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I really love that one. It's about finding the most extreme horror film ever made, where this guy is hired to hunt it down and bring it to a collector. I won't spoil anything if you haven't seen it. It's fun. It's on Tubi for free right now. Masters of Horror, the whole thing. I actually want to get it on DVD or Blu-ray, but I don't know. The last one I watched was Jennifer, which is a really rough one to watch as well. Directed by Adam Wingard. A girl snitches on her serial killer boyfriend. He goes to jail, but then escapes. Huh. No, that sounds like an interesting plot.
Yeah, I'd be into that. Yeah.
There's something that I have. God, I've been meaning to watch it, and I can't think of the title of it. It's in my watch list, and it's supposed to be a garbage horror movie. It's on Tubi. I think the guy is called The Orphan Killer. It's just this like C-rated horror slasher movie that has terrible acting, but it's popped around the community, and Friday the 13th fans apparently love it. So I've been trying to add random movies that people recommend to my list, but again, time, man. Like I have so many here that
I know, man. And it's hard too, like depending on the time you have. Sometimes you just want to throw in, your junk food, your fast food movie, so you can just enjoy it, turn it off whenever you got to, and go. It really is hard to really sit down and give focus to the movie you're trying to watch. I've been working out a little bit more, and so I use that as like the 2 hours or whatever, hour plus. Sometimes, like the Once Upon a Time in America, it took me 3 days to watch that turd of a movie. God dang it, it's on Netflix. Do not watch it. Terrible. Man, separate question.
If I'm working out and watching something, it's got to be action or horror. I cannot do a slow burn or like a gangster movie or like a comedy working out, because it's like it just breaks it. Like honestly, my favorite thing to watch while working out was like either Luke Cage or Arrow or something in that vein, or like Freddy versus Jason, something with a little bit of action and horror. Like it worked the best. But yeah, I couldn't imagine like absolutely hating what I'm watching while working out, because I've just been mad the whole time.
Right. Well, and I think it doesn't help that I watched War Dogs on Netflix. I can't remember. It might have been Jabari or Kevin. I can't remember who said they don't like Jonah Hill. War Dogs, once again, based on a true story. It's a bit of a gangster-esque kind of feeling movie. It's really, really good. I mean, it doesn't come close to touching like Blow or Scarface or any of that, but it's a really good based on a true story movie. I would say kind of B tier to my favorite gangster movies, but I watched that and then I went and watched this because it was just jonesing for some horror. Side note, are we ever gonna get Jeepers Creepers Reborn, or are we ever gonna get Terrifier 2? Like, are these ever coming out?
So
or are they just gonna keep getting pushed back?
Let me start with Terrifier 2. I did some investigating into that. The original release date was after the director had given a new company money to do the editing on the video or on the movie, and they took the money and disappeared. So the post-production editing was halted because the money disappeared. Whoever was supposed to edit it robbed the money and took off. So Damien Leone has been doing it himself on top of having a full-time day job and trying to hit cons to keep raising money so he can do the editing. So that's why that's been such a slow process, which I understand. It's going to happen. They're still working on it. They're trying to push to get it done. But he's also a big, like, I don't want to just release what I have. I want to release it executed properly, especially since it's taken this long. So I can understand and respect it.
I don't understand, though. I don't understand. You go to cons, you make money. Like, you do a GoFundMe, or not a GoFundMe, what's that called when you do, dang it. When you do, anyway, when they fund these movies. Now, I don't know this because it's their own property, so it's not like a, if you're trying to do your own Jason or Michael Myers movie, you know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
don't understand how you can't get enough movie, because throughout the horror community was on fire about Terrifier, and I just don't understand how you couldn't raise. I mean, I would imagine you'd be able to raise $100,000 within 2 months if you go to the big horror YouTube channels. You don't have to
I
give them a
think it
whole lot.
really
Just say,
depends.
hey, we'll put you in the credits.
So,
Crowdfunding. Thank you. Crowdfunding. There's
and I
another
think
term
there
for it, but I think I'm
was.
wrong. I think that's a better.
I think there is a crowdfunding element, but also if depending on how much money he gave to them, imagine like being like, okay, now I gave that money away, somebody stole it and just pieced out. What's the likelihood of that happening again? And nobody attached to a big company is going to tackle Terrifier 2. So I'll bet he's just keeping it in house. Again, I understand, I get it, it's frustrating. But I'm okay.
Terrifier
I'm
went.
all right. Wait,
Terrifier went to Netflix, so I mean,
it took a
Terrifier. I
while.
mean, Netflix bought the rights to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they. I mean, you wouldn't want to sell the rights just to. I mean, unless they paid you a handsome fee to get it on their platform and keep it on their platform. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand that. I hear what you're saying. I don't understand it, because financially, when people love that movie, it's not an expensive movie to make either. I guarantee you they didn't spend. I mean, I'd be surprised if they spend a third of the Spiral budget. Well, that's stupid because Spiral had a $50,000 budget, but anyway, sorry. Seen The Sand. Only seen clips, but that killer beach thing was in the mix. Intriguing. I have not seen The Sand.
I don't know. I have not.
Sand. Makes me think of Old, where they got their feet in the sand right there. And I want to say that if somebody put Midsommar in their top 10, I completely understand. I don't care for the movie. Like what you were saying about Jaws, I ain't got time to watch Midsommar for the slowest build on the planet, where the director is just like, look how awesome I am. Look at me patting myself on the back. Look how deep my movie is. Dude, you spent a lot of time making the movie deep, and it's in your face how it's supposed to be deep. It's not subtle at all. I mean, I understand if you like it. I completely get it. It's just not my cup of tea. We'll probably never watch it again. It didn't help I watched it with my mother, and there's a weird scene in there which you should not watch with your wife or your mom or anything like that. Beaches. I can't see it. Sorry.
The beach is cannibalistic or
cannibalistic or something? Okay.
Yeah.
Green Inferno, Summer Horror.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either. Green Inferno. I don't know. It doesn't even strike
Totally
a bell.
not Summer Horror, but my favorite. One I used to watch every summer was The Ring. Yeah. Definitely.
I've been meaning to rewatch that.
I love that movie a lot, but it doesn't quite fit. First watched it while camping in a tent with friends.
Yeah. It's also we didn't bring up Wrong Turn. That's kind of surprising that neither of us put it in our top 10 or honorable mentions. I like the movie, the original. It just wasn't gonna make.
But it's not that great. Mentions. It's a fun movie, but it's not great. Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
Here we go.
In the middle of a Friday the 13th lawsuit. Friday the 13th-esque. Somebody, I haven't read everything, but somebody suing because it's their creative content, and they're making a copyright claim, which, you know, the fourth movie may not see the light of day. It might, I don't know. Something was released today that suggests that the lawsuit may already be over, which if it is, weird but good, I guess. I don't know. I haven't been following it too closely because I don't have any faith in the fourth movie, especially with how hush-hush it was. And then their teaser trailer is literally just one scene. Like, if they had something they wanted to show you, it'd be a little bit more than that, I think. And the third movie was just bad, all around bad. So I don't know. We may not get it ever. The alarms went off everywhere and it freaked us out. Oh, for The Ring while camping? Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, see, when we were watching The Ring and or no, wait, was it? Yeah, it was The Ring, right? Yeah, The Ring. When then we got a phone call right next to us, like right when the movie ended. We're like, nope, nope, don't pick it up.
It's funny. I was when I went and got that Wishmaster figure, and I traded some stuff in at 1313 Mockingbird Lane. Name dropped the company. Awesome toy store in Lawrence, Kansas.
Awesome.
He had a VHS copy of The Ring, and if you remember, the VHS copy was a clear plastic case instead of paper, and you could see the video through it. And I almost bought it. I was like this close. It was only like $6, and I decided against it. But it was such a different time when it was still relevant to find a haunted tape or a haunted movie or haunted, like that concept. The fact that people being born today will see that as a relic of the past. Like, nobody will have an interest in, if you stumble upon a VHS, who's going to take the time to convert it and play it? Like, nobody. Absolutely. Only people who actually have an interest in it. If you have an interest in old family videos, or you just or somebody who collects them. It's a rarity. It's not going to be as widespread, which I think is why the Rings or whatever, the last one kind of failed. Is the new idea wasn't as easy to manipulate as a haunted VHS tape.
Right. It's kind of like VHS. That's a crazy one. Speaking of that, I almost bought a VHS last week. I went into the thrift store and they had Urban Legends there for 99 cents, and I was like, I don't own that movie.
Dude.
Really want to buy it on Blu-ray. Almost bought it on VHS. I didn't.
Dude, I would have. I right now, because I've been rethinking about things that I do and don't want in my collection. I do have in my shopping cart on Mercari, I have a VHS copy of Halloween Resurrection and a VHS copy of Jason X, because I used to own them on VHS, and the 2 VHS copy of Terminator 2. So the special edition release VHS of T2, and I want to buy them so bad, but I don't have the money. I'm waiting, but God, I want those so bad.
Dude, I would love to watch the history of the physical releases of T2, like VHS, Laserdisc, like DVD, special edition DVD, special edition VHSs. Dude, like I just would love to watch all the different.
Like, if you got a first edition T2 release on VHS, then like a later VHS release, first DVD, extreme DVD, Blu-ray, 4K. Just like go on a whole field trip throughout that would be awesome. I'd do it with the first Terminator too. Just let's do it. Yeah. Let's do it.
Dude, I would love to watch in the theaters a back-to-back T1, T2 back-to-back. Can you imagine?
That'd be great. It'd be well.
Oh my God.
The thing that would suck is you need the extended cut of T2. You have to have the extended.
You really do. It's the only way I want to watch the movie now. Yep.
I did.
Okay, question
my
for
brother
you.
And I. Yeah.
Nope. Sorry. Go ahead. I'll ask you in a sec. Go ahead.
My brother and I did go when they re-released T2 as 3D in theaters a few years back. We did go watch it, and we were both severely disappointed that it was the theatrical cut. Like, the whole time, we would like bump each other and be like, right here, this is supposed to happen. So, like, this movie's runtime is significantly shorter than what it means to be.
Right. It's weird because it's T2 is basically a 10, right? I never knew that there could be extras that made it better. And then when you see the extended, the extended cut, you're like, wow, they actually made the movie better. Like, it's crazy. Anyway, yeah, it's got to be the extended. Here's a question. I might cut this out, and make this a small video. I don't know, or we could not answer it and make it a video later. What is a better watch back to back? Aliens, Terminator, T2. What's a better watch back to back?
Terminator T2.
Yeah?
I'm biased. Absolutely biased. Aliens fun. Aliens is fun. I enjoy them, but I hold them lower than Predator. So, personally, Terminator 2. Terminator 2 is my all-time favorite movie. Terminator is pretty high up there as well. So, Terminator 2.
Yeah, man, I gotta say, I really, really do love Aliens. I would probably, well, this sucks because I've already seen T2 in theaters. I'd probably rather watch once again, the extended cut is far superior of Aliens than the theatrical. I would probably rather watch Aliens in theater, but I would probably agree that back-to-back Terminator and T2 would be a better experience. And I mean, I want to watch it right now. Like, in my house, I want to watch it. And it'd be shorter too. God dang, that would be super long if you did Alien and Aliens. Oh my God. Aliens is a long movie.
Honestly, two movies that I would like to see in theaters back to back, and I know that you're going to judge it, and I don't care, is Pitch Black and Chronicles of Riddick. I saw Chronicles of Riddick in theaters when it came out. I didn't see Pitch Black until it came out on VHS. Oof, those are 3 letters that I'm using a lot today.
Right.
And I think that it's interesting, and I know a lot of people now are not fans of Chronicles of Riddick, but if you think about that indie film, Pitch Black, well, maybe not indie, but a far less budgeted film, Pitch Black, where the set design was simple, minimalistic, and it was mostly dialogue cast driven. And then they shoot such a big budget for the sequel, blow it out of the water, to the point that it was kind of state-of-the-art graphics for the time. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. I really think that those two movies get overshadowed by everything else Vin Diesel has done since, but I think that they are fun sci-fi movies that deserve a little bit more appreciation.
See, I would actually skip Chronicles of Riddick and just go straight into Riddick. Sorry. The tonal shift from the first movie to the second movie is so hardcore. Like, all the love and I don't know, all the love and creativity in that first movie just gets thrown out of the window for action, and mostly action. Like, there's little horror in the movie. I don't know. Like, I need to go back and rewatch it. It's been a while, but I just remember the jarring tonal shift. There's a lot of cool parts in the movie. Carl Irving's in it. He does a good job in it. Like, I don't know. I need to go back and rewatch it, but I do think the third movie, going back to basics a little bit, I don't know. I liked it a little bit more. You know, it had the threat of the planet a little bit with, like, the sun and the heat, and brings back characters from previous movies. Like, I don't know. To me, the third movie is just a little bit better, but I need to rewatch it again. I wouldn't. That's a good question though. Like, what would be the best? If you could watch any movie back to back, what would be the best double bill in a theater? I don't know.
God, it's funny because I have movies that I notoriously will watch back to back, like Joyride, Jeepers Creepers, Brain Scan, and Trick or Treat. It's weird. Like, I have movies like that, and I don't know. I think Oh, God, that sucks. Because again, I feel biased, but the top one in my head would be T1, T2.
Yeah, I mean it's tough to beat those two because really the franchise should stop after T2. Like you did everything,
Yeah.
you have peaked. It's still one of, if not the best sequels of all time, and most people won't even argue that. Like you know,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I was kind of thinking like Halloween and Halloween 2, Halloween 78, 81, just because they just flow so perfectly.
Yeah.
God, I mean, you end that first movie and boom, pick up instantly on the second movie. Pretty epic, especially if you could slice it out and make it a perfect runtime. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I need to think about
A
that.
fun pair might be Men in Black and Men in Black 2.
Yeah, see, I don't
Goofy
care for Men in
fun.
Black 2 either. I like 3 better. The tonal shift
I
from
don't
1
really
to
like
2 kills
3.
me.
I love the first one. The second one's goofy and kind of fun. I don't like the third one, and I have not seen the latest attempt at a retelling or new
Yeah,
story or whatever.
I've got it, but I haven't watched it either. Boy, oh yeah. Once again, going to our
Ooh.
horror roots, man. Watch the Thing prequel and then put in John Carpenter's The Thing. Be tasty.
Or, do you want to leave a theater super pissed? Let's go watch Hellboy and then Hellboy 2 and be super mad that we never got the ending to that trilogy.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm pretty satisfied with the end of the second one. Kind of ends on a downer. I don't know. I just
It
never felt
ends
like I needed
at
more.
it ends at a cliffhanger. Like they're on a journey. They are trying to finish something.
No,
That's the whole point.
no, no. They finished. They just quit. Spoilers. In the second one, they just quit. They finished the journey and then they quit. They're like, "Nah, I'm not doing this anymore," and they quit. Right?
Maybe
Yeah,
I
they
need to
quit. They
go
walk
back and
off.
revisit.
Yeah. It, I think the first one's a better movie. It just has more heart, has more depth. I like the second movie for what it is. It's a little bit more funny. But I feel like it's a franchise that never lived up to its full potential. And maybe the full potential was that first movie. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think the second one pretty well fulfilled. I also got to throw in, I would love to see the original Superman and Superman 2, the Donner cut. I think that'd be a cool double bill.
Yeah. I would go back, and this is going to sound absolutely ridiculous, but I would totally go watch Ghost Rider and Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance back to back.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, but they're fun movies that I don't hate, like everybody else seems to hate. Like, I get that they're bad movies, but I enjoy them. They're fun.
Oh, something I wanted to say, man. I watched Monster with Charlize Theron and Christina Ricci. Reese?
Yeah.
Whatever. Have you seen it?
It's been a long time, but yeah.
I was impressed with the acting. Like, I watched some of the interviews with the actual lady after the movie was done, and like, solid movie from start to finish. Nothing crazy great, but I can see why Charlize Theron was nominated for an award. I think she actually won one. But solid movie. I just wanted to say I did watch that one. And did I tell you I busted out I think I did last week, the Beastmaster trilogy, and I finished those on VHS?
Yeah.
Man, that tracking,
Man,
it got to the third one, and the third one was all like it was like really cutting in and out of the music, but good times, man. It was,
Dude, so I
sorry,
don't know why,
random.
but when I think of VHSs cutting in and out and like failing, it makes me think of Double Dragon. I don't know why, but I feel like every single copy I got was doing that. God, Double Dragon. Oh, God, we should cover Double Dragon one day. I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Same here.
But I remember having lots of emotions about it. Or if we did cover it, we'd probably be like, I should have left that in the past. I should have left that in the past. I should have left that in the past.
Dude, we ought to do like a top 5 good bad movies or top 10 good bad movies. Like Street Fighter would be on there. I know it's terrible. I still enjoy it. Like
Mortal Kombat deserves that. Like so many movies deserve that. Yeah, I said it.
The first Mortal Kombat is a good movie. I'm not gonna hear it. No, we're not doing it then. I'm not hearing it, Caleb. I'm not hearing it. It is a good movie from start to finish.
None of the Mortal Kombat movies are actually good movies.
The first one's a good movie. I don't want to hear it. Moving on.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's a good movie. What do you want from it? It gives you everything you want. Name one part they could have done, like what really sticks out to you is like not good.
Like half of the movie. It's Mortal Kombat.
I love Mortal Kombat. I don't know if I'm blinded by nostalgia, but I watch it today and I cannot get enough of that movie. I would probably put the original Mortal Kombat over Spawn, and I love Spawn.
Well, you're wrong. And another movie I'd throw in there is the Super Mario Brothers movie. I know it's hated by so many, but I have this like nostalgia love for it. Like, oh God, I do. It's a bad movie. It's terrible. It's trash. But I love every second of that trash movie.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah. I'm trying to think about any others real quick off the top of my head. That would be a fun list to make. Man, is there anything else? No, I'll save it. I'm thinking of a couple, but I'll save it. But man, we probably should end here. We need to have like a couple, like do 2 back to back, because especially when we do these top 10s, they go fairly quickly. I think we can get 2 in there. But next week we did our top 10 like winter, which I don't know if I necessarily want to do, but that would be kind of fun to pit those against each other, because they're like that would be complete opposites. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it'd be a weird battle. I just had such a good time with the Cage and the Bruce. Like I had a blast. I had so much fun. I don't know why. I love those movies. Like you forget how much Nicolas Cage, how awesome he really was. When he was on fire, he was on fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anything else, man, before we go?
Yes. I've seen lots of people saying, and I'm waiting to go see it, or till it's released at home, but The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent has gotten really great reviews, speaking of Nicolas Cage, and I cannot wait to see this movie. Cannot wait. I want to see this movie so bad. And Doctor Strange is out now, and I'm probably not going to see it for forever. And, God, man,
that kind of bums me out, because I know everything that's going to be good in it is going to be spoiled by people that cannot control themselves. That's another thing why I wanted to go over, like what are the limitations of spoilers? Like, where is the threshold for spoilers? Because a guy I work with, he's awesome, love him, like he's into this stuff, but he just doesn't have enough time to donate. Like Batman v Superman, he's never seen the extended cut. He's never actually seen any cut. There's a lot of good superhero movies that he wants to watch with his wife. So, like, sometimes I've been caught a couple times slipping in a spoiler because I'm like, it came out in 2016. Like, I really want you to see this, because he's not a big fan of Ben Affleck. I'm like, well, you got to give him a chance, man. Like, he'll prove you wrong. Like, like, what are the limitations of spoilers? I wonder. And then that's something I kind of wanted to explore in a different episode.
Yeah, not too long ago, 13 Fanboy was released. I still haven't seen it. Deborah Voorhees has a group for the movie, which did the crowdfunding and all that, but she started a Facebook group for it. And in this group, people started posting like non-spoiler reviews when it first came out, which is cool. Like people were like, "Hey, I really liked it. Hey, I disliked this. Hey, what? Totally fine." But then like 3 or 4 people, and I saw the first one, like said that they didn't like the ending, but like they like non-spoiler, and then just like, and this happened in the ending, and I didn't like it. And it's like, dude, well, what? Like, first off, this is an indie movie that's only got access through Amazon, and you have to pay for it to get it, whether it's renting it or buying it. And it was released just right after the pandemic, so people are waiting to save their money to put towards that $4 to rent or $12 to buy on Amazon Prime. And you just gave away the ending. Really.
Right.
Like, and that was within a month of its release. Like, that's still too fresh, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I don't know.
well, it sucks too because like pre-kids, I would have a completely different answer for you than now I have kids. Like, and I know I'm not trying to use my kids as an excuse, but like, especially with COVID when it was out. I mean, granted, sometimes some of that the theaters weren't open, but like I couldn't even get out even if I wanted to. It wasn't worth that risk. So it's like that was kind of thrown into play, and I don't know. Something I want to talk about in the future. Oh, I do want to say I did recently watch A History of Violence. Forgot how awesome that movie is. Of Viggo Mortensen and Ed Harris, I think.
I need to go back and watch it. I remember not liking it when I first saw it. God, it's been so long. I had it on DVD forever ago. I've actually, that one's been on my list to revisit because I felt like I unfairly judged it from the perspective of somebody who needs that constant, like, action, instead of the person that I am today that can move between those.
Right, except for
so
Jaws.
Yeah, I need to go back. Well, Jaws, yeah. Oh.
And then, like I said, I was bit on this gangster kick this past week or two. I watched Wall Street, and then I watched Wall Street Money Never Sleeps. Love them. Classics. Oliver Stone, the king. One of the kings. But anyway, so we've got ideas for the future. Next week, like I said, I'd like to do something, maybe a horror Mount Rushmore, spoilers, or maybe the winter top 10, and then combine and see what it takes. So are we more, search our souls, because I kind of been teeter-tottering. Like, am I more of a winter guy or more of a summer guy? Summer has more of like a fun group feel to it. You know what I mean? Like you're out having a good time, something happens. Winter is like that. Everything is happening and you're stuck wherever you're at. You know what I mean? You're danger because of the cold. Yeah. Like most of the time in horror movies, in the summer horror movies, they're not in danger because of the heat. But in winter horror movies, sometimes they're in danger because they can't leave, or they can't go, or they can't escape. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. Lots of thoughts, limited time. I'd do this every day if I could. Yeah. Somebody rich pay me. But anyway, thanks for watching, Deb. Thanks, Jabari, for hanging out. Really appreciate it. When we get this posted, please think about your top 10. Throw it up there on the YouTube page. We'll catch you guys later. We're out of here. Bye-bye.
Peace.